Secretary Rood, Lieutenant General Alvin, thank you for your service. One of the areas where I have been supportive of President Trump's efforts is to seek a diplomatic solution in North Korea. And I have publicly said that we should be supportive of the administration's efforts to do that. My understanding from Chung In-moon, who's a senior advisor to President Moon, is that President Moon and Chung In-moon would strongly encourage a peace declaration between the United States and North Korea as a first step. Now, I understand that we can't remove sanctions or take other actions before North Korea denuclearizes, but even President Trump has said that there seems no harm to have a peace declaration. And this Congress passed in the NDAA a resolution encouraging the president to do that. In fact, the president has said that he didn't understand why that we're still at a war with North Korea, and then most Americans would find that very perplexing. My understanding is that the president made this commitment to have this peace declaration, and then John Bolton basically torpedoed it. I'm hopeful, given the current circumstances, that that may incentivize the president even more to follow through on going with the peace agreement. But my question to you is there any harm in having a formal peace declaration with North Korea, especially considering President Moon and others in South Korea want this, and they have the biggest risk of action from North Korea?
As you mentioned, the 1953 armistice simply brought a cessation to the hostilities. It's not a long-term peace agreement, and it is something that the ROK government has sought, and previous administrations and the present administration in the United States would like to see a long-term peace agreement with North Korea. I think our view has been we have sought to negotiate those type of activities with the North Koreans, and this would be, another subject of the negotiations that could be worked out with the North. I would agree with you that that's desirable. We clearly have been in a state without a long-term agreement. The armistice was not intended to survive decade after decade after decade, and so if something like that could be negotiated with the North Koreans, I think that'd be in our interest.
But could we make the first move? My understanding of what happened is that the president actually said, let's have a peace declaration. We can do the negotiation afterwards. Then you have to take steps to reduce your nuclear weapons, to denuclearize, and only then would we consider reduction of joint military exercises or reduction of sanctions. And that was the president's approach. And then he got pushed back by John Bolton and Secretary Pompeo, and Kim Jong-un thought that there was a commitment we would at least have a peace agreement. My sense is the president's instincts were far better on this than his advisors, and the question is there any possibility that we could, as a good faith gesture, have a peace agreement, and then we can negotiate on the rest?
I'd have to consult with Secretary Pompeo as to his current thinking on that. He takes the lead role in that sort of tactical decision about when the United States would be willing to make offers to those kinds of agreements with the North Koreans. But from the Defense Department perspective, again, if something like that could be negotiated with the North Koreans, we would see that as being a beneficial thing. Obviously, you need the other party, other parties involved to participate. You mentioned the South Koreans, but certainly the North Koreans would have to be, in my view, a willing participant and come to the table to work that out.
Well, I appreciate anything you can do on the issue.